Golgotha's moment. The soldiers pulled off the purple cloak and dressed Jesus back in his own clothes. Then they took him to be executed outside the city walls. Jesus, weakened by the floggings and the beatings, struggled under the weight of the cross, so the soldiers conscripted a man called Simon to carry it. He had recently arrived in Jerusalem from Cyrene in Africa for the Passover celebration. As crowds pressed in on all sides, they passed a group of women in tears at what was happening. Jesus paused and spoke to them. "Daughters, do not cry for me, but rather weep for yourselves and your children. One day soon it will be said that those who never had children are the lucky ones. A time is coming when it would be better if the hills had fallen on you and buried you alive. If things such as this can happen when all seems well with the world, what fate awaits humanity when the times are hard?" When they arrived at the place called the Skull, which in Hebrew is Golgotha, the soldiers tried to give Jesus wine mixed with bitter gall to numb the pain of what was to come. Jesus, however, refused to drink it. Then they stripped off his clothes and nailed him to the cross through his hands and feet. As the nails were hammered home, Jesus cried aloud, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing." 2 other criminals were also crucified at the same time, one on either side of Jesus. Pilate had ordered that a sign be written in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek and fixed above Jesus' head. It said, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." As the place of execution was close to the road into the city, many people read the sign. Caiaphas angrily objected to it and demanded that the words be changed to say, "This man claimed he was King of the Jews." Pilate, however, refused him, saying, "What I have written, I have written." The guards then sat down and shared out all the clothing between them. But Jesus' robe was woven as a single piece of cloth, so rather than cutting it up, they played dice to see who would get it, so fulfilling the prophetic words from an ancient psalm of David. Meanwhile, passers-by shouted insults at Jesus. "So, you were going to pull down the temple and rebuild it all by yourselves in just 3 days, were you? If you really are the Son of God, then get down and save yourself." The chief priests and teachers of the law shouted similar insults. "He healed others, but he can't rescue himself. If he did, we might believe he was the King of the Jews. He was always claiming he was God's son, so let's see if God will save him now." One of the criminals alongside him added his voice. "So, you are the promised Messiah, are you? Well, now is the time to prove it by saving yourself and rescuing us too." But the second criminal spoke very differently. "Have you no fear of God when you are so close to death? We have been rightly punished for our crimes, but this man has done nothing wrong." And then, looking across at Jesus, he said, "Remember me when you enter your kingdom." And Jesus replied, "I promise you that you will come with me." Jesus' mother was standing as close to the cross as she was allowed, together with her sister. Mary Magdalene and Mary, the wife of Clopas, were also with them, along with the Apostle John. When Jesus saw them, he said to his mother, "John is your son now." And to John he said, "Look after her as your own mother." And from that day onwards, John took Jesus' mother into his family. Dressed in mockery, crowned in pain, anointed with the spit of scorn and flayed within an inch of death, the Maker of the universe endures for pity's sake before the nightmare path to Golgotha. There in the place of honour, at his left and right, two sinners whose tragedy is bound into the passion of the King and man's unseen redemption. Soldiers dice with death beneath his bleeding feet, as doubters sneer and women weep, and heaven darkens, nailed in the hinge of time.